49ers update here from Levi's Stadium. The team is inching closer towards shutting Trent Williams down for the season. He isn't healthy yet, coming off that ankle injury, and the 49ers have reached a point of very diminishing returns with their playoff chances at under 1%. Kyle Shanahan said today that if Williams were healthy, he'd be out there playing, just like Nick Bosa, but he isn't healthy right now. So the 49ers will wait to see if he progresses, but the chances of that with only 3 games left are not very high. Now, with the Williams situation, there is a silver lining. If he's unable to go, then that means that the audition period for Jalen Moore, who's filled in nicely so far at left tackle, will grow longer. And Moore, just like somebody like Ben Bartch, who's now out with a high ankle sprain. I actually saw Bartch in the locker room today, and he was walking fine. He was in good spirits, but both of those guys are pending free agents. Both of those guys are potential contributors for the 49ers beyond this season, so we'll see if they do re-sign them. In the case of somebody like Jalen Moore, 49ers can make a more educated decision based on what they see out of him over the course of these final 4 games. Other injury news, Isaac Guerendo has a hamstring issue, the rookie running back not practicing today here at Levi's Stadium. Limited participation for Nick Bosa, for Moore, who did not practice on Monday due to a hip issue. Malik Mustafa, who missed the most recent game with a chest injury, he's back out there in limited capacity at practice. Dre Greenlaw, who had one of the great quotes of this season, I'll give it to you in a second, he's back out there in limited capacity. And Nick Zakelj, who has been sick, is a limited participant at practice today. Dre Greenlaw today in the locker room was asked about his thoughts regarding the future, because he's not under contract at the moment for after this season. And Dre said, honestly, the only thing that goes through my mind is whooping Miami's ass and going to do it with my brothers, end quote. And that's why everybody loves Dre Greenlaw. No nonsense, and that is actually what is on his mind for the 49ers right now. Right after this video, I'll tack on Dre Greenlaw's comments, and Fred Warner also had some interesting comments for the 49ers today, looking forward to the future and fighting through these last 3 games. Kyle Shanahan, when he spoke today, there's a really, really interesting mystery that he divulged. He didn't divulge the answer to the mystery, but we have a new mystery. He actually said that Devondre Campbell was the 49ers' 3rd choice at linebacker to fill in for Dre Greenlaw. We know that Eric Kendricks was ahead of Devondre Campbell on the pecking order, but that Kendricks ultimately decided to sign with Dallas even after he had verbally committed to the 49ers. But Kyle Shanahan said that 2 linebackers actually backed out. So who might those 2 linebackers have been? Some of the comparable contracts to the one that Devondre Campbell signed with the 49ers for about $4.8 million. Terrell Dodson, Bobby Wagner, Devin White. Might have any of those players been the ones that the 49ers were interested in? I don't know. I just thought that it was an interesting one-off comment from Kyle Shanahan today. Coach also said that he doesn't think that Deebo Samuel has regressed this season as far as athletic ability goes. He did point out that Deebo Samuel was beaten up early in the season. That's a, I think, fair point. Deebo did miss the Week 3 game against the Rams. I believe that was an oblique injury, and that can really affect everything. And then he also suffered pneumonia, and that's what knocked him out of the game against the Chiefs and sent him to the hospital. I will continue to say that Deebo Samuel looked plenty explosive in terms of straight line speed and burst in those kick returns that we saw at Green Bay and at Buffalo. Now, if you say that the foot quickness might not quite be there for Deebo Samuel, you might have an argument, and that's different than straight line speed, but also the foot quickness could be related to some of the injuries that Kyle Shanahan alluded to. Either way, Deebo's not having a good year. I think everybody understands that, and Shanahan again referred to the looks that Deebo Samuel has gotten this year. They haven't been as good as they have been in the past. And that goes back to Shanahan. That goes back to the 49ers' entire offense, the separation, to Brandon Ayuk not being in there for San Francisco, the whole domino effect of how the offense has to work as a machine. And I talked about that earlier in the live today. They've got the lowest separation marks of any team in football. Smallest cushions they've dealt with too. So defenses haven't given the 49ers as much respect. So I think that all plays into the Deebo Samuel conundrum for the 49ers. They simply haven't been as good as an offensive unit this year for all the reasons that we've talked about. And I think that's bled over into individual performances. There was talk of the Purdy interception against the Rams. Kyle Shanahan made an interesting point. He said that should have been illegal contact, with contact about 12 yards downfield. He wasn't making an excuse. He was offering an explanation for how that play worked, and he did defend Brock Purdy on it. He also mentioned the 49ers' protection wasn't nearly good enough. There was pressure coming off the right side to where it was going to be really, really hard for Brock Purdy to see the check down. And I think in that situation, when you look at all these things, you can always summarize it by saying, damn, the offense just hadn't been where it needs to be as a team this year. And of course, we can go through the laundry list of reasons why. It's just been a down year for the 49ers. And that is the gist of so many of Kyle Shanahan's answers in these press conferences. Shanahan did say that the 49ers should, quote, do everything they can to keep Dre Greenlaw and Talanoa Hufanga. Said that those two guys epitomize what this football team is all about. I think if you talk to players in the 49ers locker room, they will wholeheartedly agree. Look at how the run defense improved when Talanoa Hufanga was first inserted into the lineup. His communication ability tied together the back end. That really hasn't been the defensive line's fault. Some of these defensive issues, some of the run defense issues the 49ers suffered through as November turned to December. I think that there have been a ton of missed tackles and missed assignments on the back end. And that's, the safety position that's been working without Hufanga. And then, of course, the linebacker position, which backs up the wide nine without Dre Greenlaw. Those have been big, big problems for the 49ers. And a lot of those, to be honest, have seemed fixed over the past couple of weeks, past couple of games with both of those players back. But they are both pending free agents today. For the first time, Kyle Shanahan very clearly said the 49ers are going to try to get both of those players back. And both of them have missed a lot of time recently due to their respective injuries. So there might be 1 year discount opportunities for the 49ers and Greenlaw and Hufanga to keep these key pieces of the defense together. Article coming out on the San Francisco Standard, by the way, about the surging defensive line. I talked to Nick Bosa in the locker room and Yetur Gross-Matos about it today. And both of them agree with me. I based it on what Bosa was saying the other day. This line is playing at a high level. They've got 3 edge rushers in the top 25 of pass rushing productivity. Bosa in the top 5. Leonard Floyd, who's been in the top 5 over the past 6 weeks, but he's number 12 overall. And Yetur Gross-Matos, who has now cracked the top 25. Gross-Matos and Floyd both coming from systems where they're essentially outside linebackers in a 3-4. Those guys have gotten used to the 4-3. They're all under contract for 2 years. We'll talk more about this later, but the 49ers have set the table nicely with their defensive line for 2025. And I think they may even keep Javon Hargrave. More on that in a little bit. Finally, Shanahan talked about Ricky Pearsall because the narrative surrounding Pearsall has been absurd, just like a lot of narratives surrounding the 49ers. Again, the guy got shot in the chest on August 31st, right at the end of his rookie training camp. And Shanahan today pointed out that Pearsall really only had 3 practices in that rookie training camp because he was also dealing with a hamstring issue prior to the shooting. So it's been from Florida to the 49ers at midseason for Ricky Pearsall, in essence, because he just hadn't had that ramp-up opportunity due to circumstances outside of his control. I think what the 49ers have gotten out of Ricky, obviously big play in Tampa Bay, a couple big plays actually against the Buccaneers. He was open on the ball that Brock Purdy left short against the Rams on Thursday night. What they've gotten from him has been miraculous given the fact that he got shot in the chest on August 31st. But you can just say that 2024, essentially a wash for Ricky Pearsall. Anything that you do get is found money. 2025, after an entire offseason and hopefully an entire training camp for him, is going to be the true evaluation point for Pearsall. In many ways, the tragedy and also what Ricky Pearsall was able to overcome here in this 2024 season, emblematic of what the 49ers as a team have fought through this year. There's been a lot that they've had to deal with, and they feel they're going to be stronger on the other side coming out in 2025. Anyway, some of those thoughts are espoused by Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw. Here's a look inside the 49ers locker room.
understandable being that you've been off the stimulus?
I mean, I'm feeling good. I'm ready to go, so I'm excited. Ready to go on the field.
Dre, the other night you mentioned something about that. At this point in your career, you can't afford to be too injured too much anymore. What can you kind of expound on what you mean by that, just in terms of what it means for your career to be healthy and prepare?
Yeah, I mean, just getting older, so don't want to be always injured. A guy that just can't be available. So, I mean, just got to be extra cautious of just treating my body, making sure that I'm doing rehab, all that good stuff. Just sticking to my routine.
And how much do you think about, when you're coming back here, like in the future, you're an unrestricted free agent after this year, like all that kind of thing? I mean, it's life-altering things that you're thinking about. What kind of goes into your mind when you think?
Honestly, the only thing that go to my mind is whooping Miami ass and just going to go do it with my brothers, having fun, and enjoying the game. I mean, that's going to come, but you can't think about it. I mean, it's going to come regardless. So I'm just excited to just enjoy the game with my brothers.
Trey, has there been any conversation between your representative and the team about getting you signed and bringing you back here next year at all?
I ain't even talking to nobody about that. I ain't even thought about it. Don't care to think about it. I just want to play the game.
Trey, they say in this sport that there's no moral victories, but to miss 305 days, come back and play the way you played, inspire your teammates, isn't that a moral victory?
Every time, man. I love it. No, I love just giving the inspiration to go out there and play. I wish I could have did it more throughout the season, but obviously being hurt couldn't do that. But just being able to go out there and play as hard as I can, I know that's going to inspire the next man beside me, and it's going to go on to the team.
Drake, Kyle pointed out the 2021 season, you were in at the start and then you were out for a long time and you came back and played really well, cold turkey there in week 17. How much did you draw on that 2021 experience to come back this time and be mentally and physically ready to hit the ground running?
Yeah, I mean, I knew what to expect as far as just, the speed of the game, just, making sure my body's prepared to be able to take that much impact and all that good stuff. So, I mean, I trained for it. That's what I did as soon as I messed up my Achilles. I immediately, started rehabbing, preparing, just get my body ready for whenever it's time to come back. That, whatever game it is, I can come back and be myself. So, I mean, I have been down the process before. I'm used to it, and so yeah.
In your you've had a unique perspective as just kind of watched, you've had to observe this season. What, I guess you could say about 100 different things, but what's been missing from this team?
I'd probably say just, I think when you get everybody healthy, we're a really tough team to stop. So I think it was just, not by surprise, but it was just, just a year where we had a lot of guys down. So you got a guy like Christian down, you got a guy like BA down, like, man, that's confidence right there. So, I think just probably confidence and just knowing that we can go out there and beat anybody with anybody we got. And I know that's the mindset, but, just having that confidence, and I think it continued to grow throughout the season, just you got so many new guys with different pieces. It's hard to get everybody on the same page and know what to expect.
When you miss, there's the talent they have, but there's also an element of like grit and toughness. Not suggesting the guys who play some aren't capable and tough football players, but those guys are unique. Is there something to that? That when you don't have them, you don't have something that's about this team's culture?
Yeah, for sure. I think that is kind of our culture. Just the mindset. I think every player on this team got that mindset, and they kind of bought into the culture. I think when you got a lot of new guys and you got a lot of young guys, they're continuing to buy into the culture. And sometimes, you're gonna make mistakes. Sometimes you don't know the standards. Sometimes, when you're new or you're never seen it, or when you're young, it's like, okay, you don't really know what to expect. So you just, you go through your rough patches, but you continue to just, try your best to keep reaching the standard. And I think guys are starting to buy into that. Look sad that it's later in the season, but I think guys are buying into it.
How can the final 3 games serve as motivation, just getting you back to where you want to be training camp?
Yeah, I'm just excited to play with my teammates, play with the guys I came in here with, and just I don't know, go play football too. So I'm just trying to take advantage of the moments, of the time that I do got left, and have fun with it.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks, Dre.
Great, thank you.
And it is, unfortunately, there is a difference. But at the same time, pride is a very powerful motivator. In this league, the moment you decide that you're going to go out there, you're going to half-butt it and not give your all when you're in between that grass or in between those white lines on that grass, and you put bad stuff on film, like that's who you are. You're judged in this league by what you put on tape every single week. So playoffs, no playoffs, we're playing 3 good teams to finish this year off. And honestly, I want to finish strong heading into next season, because that carryover is real.
Kind of following up on that, Freddie. Bosa said it. I think you kind of alluded to the idea that you're going to find out who wants to be here over these next few weeks. Every year there's plenty of turnover, but when you have a season like this, does it feel like this could be kind of the last few opportunities you get to play with some of the guys that you've been with for a long time right now?
Yeah, we've been able to keep a lot of the core pillar guys for a long time, but at the end of the day, like each year, each team is different. It's about what you do with that new team, that new group. Like I said, I truly believe that we need to finish strong throughout the rest of this season. The off season things will happen however they're going to happen, but I'm just focused on the here and now.
I think people sometimes just overlook the value of getting to play. To still go out there with your guys 3 more times, regardless of what's going to happen.
No, that's a great perspective, honestly, and I think it does get overlooked because you see, especially with our team, the guys that have gone down and they would give everything to be out there, just to have another shot at being able to play, especially, like I said, we got 3 big-time games coming up, and regardless of the situation, it is a blessing to be out there, to strap it up. Every time I go out, I come in the locker room before a game and I see the pads with the 49ers jersey on it, and I'm in year 7, and it still gives me goosebumps just even looking at that. So it's always gonna mean a lot.
You've been here for several years now with Dre. I don't know, you talked about it the other night. Now there's a couple more days to think about it and see the film. How amazing was for the injury that he had to play like he played, how amazing was that?
Yeah, I wish I could say I'm surprised, but I've seen it too often now. He has dealt with some significant injuries in his time here, but the guy is unbelievable. From a physics standpoint, I think Achilles is probably the hardest injury besides like an ACL to come back from in this league, and the way that he moved on Sunday, you would never have known that he went through that, right? And so, this guy is unbelievable, and he'll only continue to get better from here on out.
Did that give you any shades of 2021 when he missed almost the whole season, and then that must-win game he came in and was flying around against the Rams?
Yeah, very, very similar, and I think that was against the Rams as well. So, something about those Rams, man, he just plays well.
Fred, you had 15 tackles. Close to 15 tackles in your previous games. I realize there are actual X's and O's reasons when Dre is in there. You're going to be more productive. Is there also something else to it?
No, I think it's honestly I'm going out every game trying to give it my all every single play. Obviously, I'm trying to make the plays when they're there. Some games are there, some games are not. Some games I'm not going to have as many opportunities. It's about making the most of your opportunities. Like if I have 15 tackles but we lose the game, then I really don't care if I have 15. If we had 3 and I won and we won, then that means a lot. So at the end of the day, what is it going to take to win? That's all I care about.
I know physicality is like an impossible thing to quantify, but how much does he being physical in the run game actually help you?
I think it just helps the entire defense, honestly. From a tone-setting standpoint, from the offense having to be aware of where he's at, where I'm at, where all of us are at. It's just a standard. That's what it's been ever since I've been here. And so just having him back out there, you could see it. It jumped off the tape. It jumped out, even being out there from the first snap. It means a lot having him back out there.
With Devondre Campbell, obviously, regardless of what happened Thursday, looking over the whole season, how did he mesh with you? Was he having a hard time adapting to the scheme? What was him like in the slot?
No, he was a good dude, man. I'm grateful for what Devondre brought to our team. As a veteran presence. And he tried his hardest, even though he wasn't familiar with how we played in our scheme. I think he did a good job throughout the year, getting better. It's just unfortunate how that ended.
One of this team's key emphasis going into the year was finishing strong. For reasons. The fourth quarter has not panned out that way in a lot of games this year. Is it a mentality thing? Is it conditioning? Is it scheme? What is the reason for fourth quarter issues?
It's hard to pinpoint one thing, honestly. I mean, I could sit here and go through a bunch of different things from all three phases of our team, but you know, like you mentioned, we just haven't been able to play complementary at the end of the day. You know, when offense needs us to step up, and then vice versa, it just hasn't worked out that way.
What did you enjoy about having Mike McDaniel around when he was here? I know it's another side of the ball, but just personality and all that stuff.
Yeah, I honestly wasn't too involved with Mike while he was here. He was more so tucked away on the offensive side, but I'm happy for him, happy for the success he's had over Miami, and hopefully not too successful on Sunday.
All right, that's today's update here from the facility. We will talk to you soon, maybe from a driverless car.